have heard or seen on X and on every other media outlet in the world at this point, the Musk Trump debacle that happened yesterday went into like, full explosive mode when kind of there was the culmination of a few days of Musk trash talking the big ugly bill that Trump calls the big beautiful bill, and Musk calls the big ugly bill or whatever. And it's, first of all, what a silly name for a bill, but okay. Bills always get silly names, so that's okay. They always have these ridiculous names. To sound, I don't know what, catchy. But anyway, so the big beautiful bill or the big ugly bill was the point of contention, apparently, the straw that broke the camel's back for Elon Musk less than a week after he left his role in government, when he was at that White House Oval Office meeting with Donald Trump, who was laying praise upon him, and he was laying praise on Trump. I do find it kind of funny, maybe not funny, but funny to some degree, how the whole time he was, they were talking about cutting spending, and in that meeting, Elon Musk, with his black eye, looks up at the ceiling and says how beautiful the gold leafing is on the eagle up on the ceiling, and Trump's telling him, "Oh yeah, it's people never noticed it there before. It was just painted white, so nobody could see it, and now they see it. It's in gold. It's highlighted, so people love it." Why do I find it funny, or maybe not funny, but maybe a bit grotesque or whatever? Well, if you remember, it was like a month or two ago when Trump was saying that maybe this Christmas, when he did his whole tariffs thing, he said maybe this Christmas, your girls are going to have only one or two dolls for Christmas. Maybe they have to cost a little bit more. I mean, implying like the kids are going to have less presents this year because we don't have any money. But here he is painting the ceiling in gold. So I just find that to be, very telling of rules for thee, but not for me. And I mean, it's like that with every politician, by the way. I'm not saying that is exclusive to Trump or anything. It's really not. I mean, it may seem to be more ostentatious, more gaudy in the way he does things because that's just how he is. But every politician does this. If you think previous administrations, left or right, Democratic or Republican, haven't been massive abusers of the rules that they impose on the people, well, you're kidding yourself. You got another thing coming, as they say. It's completely normal, par for the course, for people in government and positions of power to apply rules to the people, but then exempt themselves from it. So it's just very indicative of how government works. Um, but anyway, so this little spat between Elon Musk and Donald Trump has been leaving a lot of people on X and elsewhere kind of watching with popcorn and making all kinds of silly memes. Like I made some. Um, you know, the fight between the two bros, the bromance is over. Now it's just a cat fight, and everybody's sitting back eating popcorn and watching like that Michael Jackson picture, which is kind of, yeah. Anyway, so of course there was a lot of back and forth between who said what in their tweets or their posts or whatever you call them, their truths on X and on Truth Social and all that. To be honest, it's a little bit silly, right? It's political theater. To be frank, this is actually the kind of stuff that Trump really thrives on, and so does Musk. To be perfectly honest, right? They both have sizable followings. You could argue on X. Obviously, Musk has far more followers than Trump does, even on X and on Truth combined, on Truth Social combined. But Trump is the president of the United States, so whatever he says reverberates around the world, whether he has a truth account or a X account or not, right? He is the president of the United States, so his words do disseminate far and wide. So whatever they both say is obviously going to get massive coverage, especially when they've been, so chummy for the past almost year now. It was about 11 months ago when President Trump spoke in Butler, Pennsylvania, and there was that insane guy who shot at President Trump and shot him, apparently, causing him to bleed from the ear. Frankly, it was only a miracle the guy didn't die. And I don't care what side of the political aisle you fall on, nobody should be, no political candidate should be assassinated. Right? It's certainly not the way to do things in a real democracy, right? So thank God he was not killed. And that same day, Elon Musk, said that he was fully on board with Trump and basically committed to spending hundreds of millions of dollars to help Trump win the election. And since then, they've been very, very close, getting closer and closer. And eventually, after Trump won the election, Musk was put into a position of immense power and privilege, where he basically got to create this little agency, the Doge Group, and the Department of Government Efficiency or whatever, where he went about slashing and burning all kinds of agencies that were investigating his companies, and and secured a lot more money for his companies, right? Starlink, and got rid of investigations into Tesla and SpaceX and all these, and Starlink. So he enriched himself immensely, and then after leaving, he complains that the government is overspending in this bill, and says he wants to kill the bill. Right? He wants everybody to vote, to call their senators and call their congresspeople and tell them to kill the bill. Well, they already passed it, so it's too late to call your congressman about it. But it's now up to the Senate, right? And if they pass it and Trump passes it, signs it, well, then it's a done deal. So it's a little bit late, frankly, for Elon Musk to be complaining. Plus, also, it's just a touch hypocritical, or whatever you want to say, for Musk to be complaining about gross overspending when the whole reason it seems that he made $150 billion of cuts in government spending and slashing all these regulatory agencies that were investigating him was precisely so that he could free up cash to enable the tax cuts for the billionaires, which he is among and which he would benefit from. And he knew about this. It was always part of the plan. So it's frankly ludicrous in many ways that he's complaining now when he quite literally made this happen, right? Like, yes, Trump won the election, but Trump won the election largely because in the last few months of the election, he had hundreds of millions of dollars in his war chest. You got to remember, before that, Trump was running out of cash extremely quickly and was basically, his campaign was almost broke, right? And it's only because Musk came in and gave him literally hundreds of millions and backed him, endorsed him, gave him, basically X to, used X to promote him to hundreds of millions of people and to, generate massive amounts of votes for him, that Trump actually won the election, right? So, and to deny that is foolish, because it's just silly. Like, obviously Trump's endorsement and money made all the difference. That doesn't mean that Trump wasn't popular in his own right. He certainly was. He certainly had a lot of people who were voting for him, regardless of who was endorsing him, right? But there were certainly a lot of people who kind of were on the fence and who decided to vote for Trump once Elon Musk said, I'm voting for Trump too, and spent tons of money promoting his ads and, running basically a massive political campaign to help Trump win. So this whole catfight is really a bit silly and a bit obnoxious, frankly, on the part of Musk. And I'm not a defender of Trump or of any politician, but for Musk to be out there now complaining about what he knew was in the bill. You know, uh, look, he made this happen. So why is he complaining about it? He's complaining about it now because he's maybe because it doesn't have to do with the EV money that he says he doesn't care about if they cancel that. But the fact is, he made this happen. He knew it was in the bill, and he's just being a hypocrite. Business as usual. Have a nice day.